I'm an immigrant. I came to America with nothing. What threat do I pose to you?
Dinesh D'Souza is one of the stupidest right-wing commentators out there, and that's saying something. Everything he says is so self-evidently wrong, it's hard to believe anybody takes him seriously. But here we are anyway. Don't know why they needed a soundbite for a 3-minute video, but I guess this is how things are done these days. Also, let me remind you that almost nobody on the right wing actually knows what an SJW is anymore. They just use it as a catch-all for anybody they don't like.
Hold on, don't shout at me. Don't shout at me. I'll be...
He says as he speaks into a mic that broadcasts his voice across the entire room.
No, you came voluntarily. Did I ask you to come? No, don't shout at me. I'm defending fascism. No, I'm exposing you as a fascist.
As you probably expected, this video will basically be a person who has no idea what fascism actually means telling another person who has no idea what fascism means what fascism doesn't mean.
Because, do you realize, I'll tell you how. You asked me a question. Hold on.
How am I a fascist with people who are hurtful and raped, and there's rapists who are still in the
I just want to say, if you're left-leaning in any way, speaking in an emotional tone doesn't actually help at all. They'll just say facts don't care about your feelings and call you an SJW.
Are you familiar with the black shirts in Italy or the brown shirts in Germany? Do you realize that they would go to campuses, goons, and would stand in the back of the room, and when somebody tried to make an intelligent presentation and answer questions, they would shout them down, yell at them, try to intimidate them, and count as success if they could get the event canceled and the speaker threatened.
Wait, so protesting an event makes you a fascist? Damn, what an intellectual.
But see, the problem is, sometimes you get speakers like me who are not scared of people like you. We recognize your frauds.
I'm sorry, but if you're like ambiguously non-binary with blue hair, this is probably not the right situation for you. Everything's stacked up against you already. You don't want to give them another reason to laugh at you.
I recognize that ultimately you are afraid of ideas. You're not willing to engage with me. Yes, you're afraid of ideas.
What a slimy weasel. They're right there in front of you and you're accusing them of not engaging while you stand in front of a microphone blaring out with your shit quality billionaire funded speakers. There's absolutely nothing you could do here that would make Dinesh D'Souza say anything differently. He's just a snowflake who doesn't want people to protest at his events.
You're not afraid of fascists? You think I pose a threat to you? I'm an immigrant. I came to America with nothing. What threat do I pose to you?
This is literally identity politics. I'm an immigrant. How could I be a fascist? Never mind that I'm funded by billionaires and committed fraud so much that I had to be arrested by the federal government. He's not even listening to what this protester's saying. He's just flinging shit against the wall to see what sticks.
You promoted dangerous, violent ideas that kill millions of people.
I'm sorry, but this is not an equal playing field. You can't trot out your arguments slowly. You have one sentence to say all that you need to say before you're interrupted. The number one thing you need to do is buy yourself more time. You might do that by calling him out on using a giant microphone while you have to speak with your own voice. If you can't do that, just present your strongest claim for your strongest argument.
I propose dangerous, violent ideas to kill people? Who have I killed?
Pivoting from promoting dangerous ideas to personally killing someone? What a weaselly prick. How obvious could your straw man get?
You look at capitalism. You are a part of
Capitalism? Do you realize that Hitler's deadly opponent was capitalism?
Nazi Germany had a lot of anti-capitalist rhetoric, but as soon as they got in power, they teamed up with the business elites to form basically what was mercantile capitalism. But if you're at an event like this, any dumb fuck could just pretend free market equals capitalism and government control equals socialism.
Have you read the Nazi 25-point platform? Let me give you a few themes from it. State control of the banks. Do you support that? No. State control of healthcare. Do you support that?
I found one. A real liberal SJW.
State control of education. Do you support that? No.
He's taking advantage of the fact opposite ideologies can horseshoe into similar sounding policies. If you asked him to describe fascist ideology, he would have to lie.
All right. What I'm trying to get at is the fascist ideology is one that is distinctly on the left. Whether or not you personally support it.
not any political theory. Fascism is specifically on the right. It is talking about a race superior to another. You are not saying it's about the left has problems. The left has been co-opted.
This is a terrible argument. First of all, you can't appeal to theory because right-wingers are fundamentally anti-intellectual. Second of all, you can't bring up race because fascism not only doesn't always include race, but D'Souza will almost certainly bring up that he's Indian as if that proves he's not racist. D'Souza's not an alt-righter, he's an establishment conservative, which means he'll claim the left is the one focusing on the differences between the races, and Republicans are the colorblind ones, as they introduce nominally race-blind policies that always just so happen to negatively affect black people the most. Your lane of attack is to identify the state and nationalism with the right wing.
All right, hold on. I don't look. In fairness, there's going to be plenty of time to engage you.
Oh, no.
But let me just say this.
Oh, no.
No movement that calls itself a national socialist movement is going to be on the right.
He said it! The legend, Dinesh D'Souza, the ultimate pivot, the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, perfectly in line with Western Enlightenment values.
And the idea that the fascists are right-wing because they support racial superiority, wait a minute. The guy who showed the Ku Klux Klan movie in the White House was Woodrow Wilson, a progressive Democrat. So progressivism was married to racism at the hip.
Again, D'Souza uses dishonest correlations to advance his argument. William Howard Taft, Wilson's predecessor and opponent, actively removed African Americans from office during his tenure. As a reaction to that, Wilson was the first Democratic president ever to win a majority of the black vote. Of course, Wilson turned out to be terrible as well, but the progressive movement of then is not the same as the one of now. D'Souza gestures at labels and policies rather than the ideals because he counts on his audience being too stupid to actually know that he's lying about everything.
So don't pretend it was a right-wing phenomenon. It wasn't.
D'Souza doesn't care about the meaning of the words he uses. To him, the labels exist first, for example, progressivism, and the ideology gets attached to it. Apparently, if a left-winger says something racist, racism becomes left-wing.
I'm and I approve this message.